update on Ukraine. We had Pete Hegseth over in Poland addressing NATO defense ministers and some of these questions about how the Trump administration is dealing with Ukraine, the thinking behind it. Then we had a Trump call with Vladimir Putin this week. I mean, yeah, the left is losing their minds over it. And we've got hostages coming home. We've got more detained Americans coming home. So I want to just back it up a little bit. The Pete Hegseth thing was really interesting. So in his address to the NATO defense ministers, he put a couple principles forward on the U.S. approach to ending the Ukraine war. Said basically, European Union, NATO, other NATO countries, you've got to pick up the slack here, right? Like we all need to be part of the solution. America's been doing too much. Secondly, the United States position is, one, we will not be sending any of our American troops over there. So American boots on the ground, not on the table. He also said it would be unrealistic to return to the 2014 borders. So the borders including like the Donbass and Crimea. So he's like, it's not realistic. We need a realistic negotiation. Interestingly, that speech, which was very strong and very specific, he walks it back a little bit yesterday.
He did, but before he walked the walk back part, he also said, correct me if you already said it, but like no U.S. troops in Ukraine, right, which is a key point.
Yeah, he did not walk that back at all. He did come. So this was what he came out with yesterday. All of that said, these negotiations are led by President Trump. Everything is on the table in his conversations with Vladimir Putin and Zelensky. What he decides to allow or not allow is at the purview of the leader of the free world, of President Trump. So I'm not going to stand at this podium and declare what President Trump will do or won't do, or what will be in or what will be out, what concessions will be made. Josh, can you just decipher that political, what is he saying here? Is he really walking all that back?
Well, I don't know if he's all walking it back, but he doesn't want to get too ahead of his skis, and he wants to give Trump more leeway to have a wide open table in terms of everything that could possibly be discussed. But even this could have been like, well, did Hegseth make a mistake here? Like, no, actually, it was probably Trump's probably okay with it. Like, throw stuff out there and then reel it back in. But you kind of show some of your cards. Like, you're not really enthusiastic. You don't want troops there. That's probably Trump definitely agrees with that. And like throwing out this idea that, it's unrealistic to have the same borders in 2014. Well, just to at least hint at it. Like, I keep coming back to that point. Like,
right.
What do you want, Ukraine? What is your goal here? Is it more important for you to have 100% of all the territory back? Or is it better to just end the war at some point, like cut your losses? And I mean, it's an evil, aggressive, neighbor. I get that. So like, some people would push back at that and say, well, you don't want to basically create an incentive where Russia thinks, oh, see, that was worth it. I was able to pick up more territory that way. So I get it. It's a fight there. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Putin's a little bit out of his mind.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, Trump said he spoke with President Putin this week on, let's see, either Wednesday or Tuesday. Sorry, my notes are screwed up here. So Trump spoke with the president and he said that they had agreed to have our respective teams start negotiations immediately. They plan to meet soon. The speculation is they'll be meeting in Saudi Arabia. This was interesting too. ABC just released this clip of Trump saying that he and Putin are working on ceasing production of all nuclear weapons as well.
Defense spending, China.
Well, I'd like to have that as soon as things settle down. I'm going to have that conference primarily with China and Russia because those are the two that really are out there. And we're going to have them spend a lot less money, and we're going to spend a lot less money. And I know they're going to do it. They agreed to it. We were talking about denuclearizing, and President Putin and I agreed that we were going to do it in a very big way. There's no reason for us to be building brand new nuclear weapons. We already have so many. You could destroy the world 50 times over, 100 times over. And here we are building new nuclear weapons, and they're building nuclear weapons, and China's building new nuclear weapons, and China's trying to catch up because, they're very substantially behind, but within 5 or 6 years.
Little dig there.
And we're all spending a lot of money that we could be spending on other things that are actually, hopefully, much more productive. Hopefully, there'll never be a time when we need those weapons. If there's ever a time when we need nuclear weapons, like the kind of weapons that we're building and that Russia has and that China has to a lesser extent, but will have, that's going to be a very sad day. That's going to be probably oblivion.
That's it.
So I do want to tee up on one of the things he said, almost as a throwaway line, but like that money we're wasting on this stuff that could be spent on other stuff. And that's kind of one of the things I think with this Doge stuff that's going on, where they're saving all this money by cutting the spending, it would be great if Donald Trump would use that money to the extent possible through Congress or whatever, through just like, obviously I love tax cuts or whatever, but in lieu of that, if you actually did something visual, like all this money that we're wasting on all these projects, Doge, like millions for a comic book, in Peru or whatever. And if you took that and instead put it to use and like updated our bridges and highways and our airports,
Yeah,
and
like touch grass with it.
Like, yes, like something you'd be able to visually see. Like, why is LaGuardia like such a dumpy airport? You know what I'm saying?
They updated. No, it's not so bad now. All right, LaGuardia.
Really? Okay.
But we really could improve. LA still needs help, I have to say. Yeah. I mean, they need more than that, but
update like this bridge was renovated because we didn't send, $8 million to a comic book in Peru for transgender kids.
Put it right there.
Why
I
not?
love
Just
that.
put it on the sign. That'd be great.